My dear friends in Christ, today we come to the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Jesus is journeying with his disciples. He has just predicted for the third time in St. Mark's Gospel his passion. How do the disciples respond? They're going again, as they did on the second time prediction of Jesus' passion, discussing who would be the greatest. And this time, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, the sons of thunder, ask Jesus whether they can sit at his right or sit at his left when he comes into his kingdom. They are still thinking in a worldly way. They count on worldly power and human respect, the same way the rich young man last Sunday had depended upon his wealth. They want to sit one at the right, one at the left of Jesus when he comes into his glory, not understanding that Jesus' glory will be his passion, his crucifixion, and only then, after his death, his glorious resurrection. Jesus asks them, "Can you drink from the chalice from which I am to drink?" And they say, "We can." They do not know what they are saying. Certainly in the Acts of the Apostles, St. James will be amongst the first of the apostles to be put to death. "We can," they say, "but this will be the chalice of suffering." Jesus himself, in the Garden of Gethsemane, will say, "Father, let this chalice pass from me, but not my will, but your will be done," because it is the bitter chalice of suffering. They want, James and John, they want all the glory without the passion. Some years ago, I met Cardinal Oscar Rodriguez Maradiaga, who's now Archbishop Emeritus of Tegucigalpa in Honduras. And he said once he had gone to England, and he was in York Minster Cathedral, the Anglican Cathedral, which had one time been Catholic. And they were wondering why so many people weren't coming to church, so they hired a marketing expert. And the marketing expert said, "Well, take that down," and pointed to the crucifix. No one wants that. But the cross is precisely the instrument of our passion, of our salvation. Jesus had to undergo his passion in order to save us, and he offers us his very life. He offers us his body and blood in the Eucharist, the sacrifice of Calvary, offered in an unbloody manner. Before, he had placed a child in their midst to show, again, dependency on God rather than worldly power. He said, if you want to be great, you have to be the least. Again, Jesus has said, the last shall be first, the first shall be last. He reminds his disciples that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for the many. He instructs his apostles that the greatest must be the last, the servant and the slave of all. Many of you will recall Muhammad Ali, the great boxer, and he floated like a butterfly, he stung like a bee, and he would often say, "I'm the greatest." If we as Christians were to say, "I'm the greatest," what would it mean? It would mean that we were the least, the last, the slave, the servant of all. Some years ago, before I entered the seminary, I was in Italy at a Franciscan friary in Aquila. And I met this Franciscan brother, Brother Damiano. And I asked him, "Brother, why did you become a Franciscan friar?" And he says, "Well, our initials are OFM, the Order of Friars Minor. I like this M. It doesn't have to be a big M. It can even be a little m. But I'm minor. I am least. And therefore I am a servant." And this is the true greatness of Christian life, to be a servant and to give our lives over for others.